I've ordered a lot of random home stuff from China, and honestly, some of it turned out way better than I expected. So I picked 12 things under $12 that were actually worth it. Hi, I'm Alina. I'm a mom. I'm a golden retriever owner. I live in Kazakhstan now. Before moving here, I used to buy a lot of home stuff from local or Russian marketplaces, and I spent way too much money doing that. I decided I really didn't want to keep wasting money, so I switched to a Chinese marketplace instead. The only problem is that it's fully in Chinese. And I don't speak Chinese, of course, at all. But thankfully, that's actually manageable. If you want, I can make a separate video about that, about how I use it and how I translate it on the go. The selection is much bigger, and even with shipping from China, it still ends up cheaper. We are relatively close to China, and delivery is about $2.7 per kilo, which is honestly great. Sorry, English is not my first language, so sometimes I speak not so good. The system is a bit complicated. Everything firstly goes to a warehouse in China and then gets shipped here to Almaty. So yes, it takes a bit more effort, but that's also why the prices are so low. After doing this for a while, I got pretty good at finding things that are actually good and actually useful. So these are my best finds under $12. First is bookshelf. I have a toddler. He is 2 years old and he likes to read. He can't read, actually. I'm reading, but he likes books. Not so much now, but still. This bookshelf was 36.5 yuan, which is about $5.30 before shipping, of course. I will put the final price with shipping on the screen here or here. Next prices I will say in Chinese yuan and US dollars, and I will always write the final cost. I decided to buy this bookshelf because my son loves books and we have a lot of children's books. When they were just standing on the regular shelf, it was really inconvenient. We also read before bed, so it made much more sense to put a bookshelf right next to the bed, so we could easily pick something and read together. This looks really nice in the room, but it's also actually practical. It's very stable, it has never fallen over, and it holds a lot of books. Sometimes I even put other things on it, like my Nintendo Switch or phone while it's charging, or even my laptop. So the construction is actually pretty solid. For our child, this is a real must-have. It was definitely worth it. Second toy for toddler is a bath toy. This bath toy was about $3.45 before shipping. For a while, our son didn't really enjoy taking baths, so I decided to get him a toy to make bath time more exciting. He can stay there for 30 or even 40 minutes playing. Not just this toy, of course, but this is kind of the main activity the whole bath routine is built around. It has two modes, one with music and one without music. In general, I don't find it too noisy. For the price, it was definitely worth it. Now let's move on to the second section, which is the kitchen stuff. I'm always a little obsessed with organizing things and making everything, I don't know, look neat and easy to reach. So a lot of the things I bought for the kitchen came from that exact urge. Kitchen containers. These containers ended up costing me $14.50 in total because I ordered them little by little. I use them for grains, pasta, and all the things that are always spilling away in ugly packaging and just create visual mess. Before, everything looked chaotic. This is how other shelf looks like without containers and how now looks shelf with the containers. I think the difference is really huge. I included this in the video even though together they cost a little more than $12 because I didn't buy them all at once. I ordered them gradually. First 4 medium ones, then another medium one, then a large, and so on. So you can totally build this up over time. I did the math and one small container came out about 92 cents. Medium one was about $1.14 and the large one was about $1.73. Before this, the problem was that everything was just laying around, spilling, looking messy, and being inconvenient to use. Now it's much easier to cook. Everything looks calmer and I can just grab exactly what I needed. What used to bother me most in the kitchen was the visual clutter. So this is probably more about aesthetics than convenience. Although it's more convenient too. I just really like opening the cabinet and seeing everything looks nice and organized. I do think they were worth the money. One of the container turned out to be extra one. I don't really have space for it in that cabinet. Next one is the spice organizer. This spice organizer cost 21 yuan each, which was about $3.07 per piece before shipping. I have 2 of them. Before this, my spices were just sitting in the drawer. We have big drawers, but that actually made it even more annoying. Keeping them on a shelf wasn't great either. Everything kept falling over, getting lost, or just looking messy, and I really didn't like that. So I ordered these organizers and I honestly love them. They're convenient, they look good, and they turned out to be sturdier than I expected. Containers I mentioned before were also stronger than I expected, which was a nice surprise, really. So yes, this was definitely a good buy. This kitchen brush set was cost $4.09. One thing I really hated was that our sponge was always just laying around somewhere, always wet, always ugly, and I also felt like I needed more small cleaning tools for the kitchen. So I bought this little brush set and it turned out to be genuinely useful. I wouldn't say I used every single piece equally often because honestly the metal one or the curved one are not things you need every day. But the rest of them I use pretty regularly. Usually my R sounds like and it's hard for me to pronounce some words with R. I like this set a lot. It was one of those small purchases that ended up being more useful than I expected. Bedsheet clips. These bedsheet clips were 4.46 yuan, which is about 65 cents before shipping. I'll put the full price with shipping on the screen. This things was absolutely worth it. Let me explain why. I really hated the feeling of laying in the bed and having the shit constantly come loose. You wake up and this shit is all wrinkled under you. Everything is twisted and just feels uncomfortable. I also really noticed those folds in the fabric and I hate how that feels against my skin. So at first I tried using corners. It's not clips that you're screwing into your bed. It's just holds the sheets in place. They kind of worked, but not really. The sheet still shifted around because it's a big surface area and those plastic corners are also bent too easy. So originally I bought these clips to secure a blanket on our sofa, but then we had some leftover and I decided to try them on the bed. And they actually worked. At first I thought, okay, this might be a little too much, but no, it's great. It's honestly one of the best things I bought to keep a sheet in place. They are not super easy to install, unfortunately, and taking them off isn't especially easy either. But I wash our bedding around once every 10 days, so for me that's fine. What bothers me much more is dealing with the loose sheets and all the time. For me, they were absolutely worth it. Next one is shampoo, body wash and soap dispensers. I bought 5 dispensers. If I average out the price, each one came to about $1.15. This really helped reduce visual clutter. We already have a lot of things in the bathroom and we decided not to install a shelf because usually the more storage space it means you will create the more random stuff end up living there. With these dispensers, everything just looks cleaner and more put together. I also used one in the kitchen for dish soap. They came with labels, but I didn't really like labels. It doesn't look so well, so I just wrote simple letters on them instead. I know what everything is by color, but my husband had a harder time remembering, so the letters made it easier. They look nicer and honestly the quality surprised me too. I would even order bigger for shampoo and conditioner. They're actually a little small, but overall I do think they were worth it. Cleaning brushes. I remember the meme about English teacher singing a song.
I'm singing a song. I'm angliska. I'm singing a song.
Now for my favorite cleaning tools. The rotating angled brush was $1.72. The head turns both horizontally and vertically and it's really useful for narrow areas that still have a fairly big surface. Then I have another small gap brush that was $1.44. You can't use it in that many places, but where you can use it, it's absolutely a must-have. I even bought another one for the kitchen to clean tiny corners. Then there's the large and medium brush. They already look a little worn because I use them the most and together. They were $3.50. I use this all time in everyday life. They definitely clean better than clothes or sponge. When you're dealing with the actual dirt, like washing the bathtub or cleaning shoes, this turned out to be incredibly useful, and the quality is honestly really good too. I ordered them from the same Chinese home brand. I think it's called Eco or something like that. And everything I got from them was very good quality. A fake plant was 75.80 yuan, and I really like it. One plant cost about $11, and in total we ended up ordering 4 of them. One is in the living room, one in the kids' room, 2 more here, and here. Why fake plants? Because real plants are honestly hard work. I would actually love to make a separate video about real plants too. Since moving to Kazakhstan, I still haven't bought any actual houseplants. I brought cuttings with me from Georgia and propagated them, and now I have 11 plants growing, plus some extra baby cuttings here. I do love real plants, but plants are hard. They are really hard. These fake ones looks nice, and they don't look perfectly real, obviously, but they also don't look cheap. I've seen very similar fake plants on the shops and beauty salons here in Kazakhstan, and one thing people often don't do is shape the stems properly, but you actually can bend them and arrange them in a much more natural looking way. You just need to be a little careful and not overdo it. It can break. So yes, of course you can tell it's a fake plant, but you also don't have to take care of it, and that's a huge plus. They definitely make the space feel cozier. They add a really nice vibe, and I don't think they look cheap at all. We ordered them without pots. You could order them with pots, but I styled them myself. One is in a round basket, one has a crocheted cover that I made for it, and the third and fourth one is still just standing without pot in my husband's room. No, it is with a pot, but not a cozy pot, not a beautiful pot, just a plastic black pot. For me, they were absolutely worth it. This watering can was $2.79 before shipping. This is just a pretty watering can, and I bought it because I liked how it looked, but it also turned out to be better quality than I expected. It's plastic, but it's a good plastic. It has this soft touch feel that's really pleasant, and it's generally nice to use. Watering plants has always been one of those things where I ended up using random bottles and it looks messy and feels inconvenient. With a watering can, everything just feels much, I don't know, natural, nicer, easier. So yes, this one was worth it. 11 second 11 stuff for my plants. I also bought 10 plant pots for $4.87. 97 $4.97 in total, which is basically 50 cents per pot. As I said, I brought plants from Georgia and needed to repot them here. I wanted simple, nice looking pots, nothing too loud, just basic one that would look clean. And the quality turned out to be very good too. And honestly, that price is extremely cheap. Even in Bishkek, in Kyrgyzstan, where I'm from, I feel like one similar pot could easily cost around 300 soms, which is around $4. And here I got 10 pots for about $5. $5. That was such a good deal. I also bought moisture indicators. One of them costs $3.75. I bought 5. I've already ordered more since then because when I was taking care of plants in Georgia, a few of them are actually straight dying because I was overwatering them. I've never really had the problem of forgetting to water plants. My problem is the opposite. I overwater them all the time. So I realized that this was something I actually needed to solve, and I decided to try this. When the soil has enough moisture, the indicators turns blue. When it turns white, the soil is dry and it's time to water. And honestly, this turned out to be incredibly useful. I love plants, but this is one of the areas where I really need help, and this made a real difference for me. So those were my favorite finds under $12. Some of them were practical, some of them just made our home feel nicer, but all of them genuinely felt worth it to me. If you want, I can definitely make a part 2 because this is very far from everything I've ordered. And I want to make videos on this channel, so if you have questions about life in Kazakhstan, let me know in the comment section. Love you. Bye.